Hallo? Ja.
Goedemorgen. Good morning. My name is Frank, and this is Robert. And together we are Robert and Frank, or Frank and Robert. And we're an artistic duo. We're artists, visual artists and theater artists, and we're based in Ghent. And yeah, Robert.
Okay. Yeah, bon. So we started this morning with just showing one of the main pieces we will talk about today, which is called The Machine That Can Change the World. But more about that later. First, maybe like a quick introduction, who we are. So Robert and Frank, what does that mean? We're an artistic duo and we're active in 3 main things: video, theater, and visual arts. The theater which we make is produced by the amazing art center Campo. Our latest piece premiered here, by the way. It's called Don't We Deserve Grand Human Projects That Give Us Meaning? The video is based around Proactive, a small non-profit we founded together with some friends. And then there's the visual arts, which is basically connected or affiliated with no one or nothing really, only just the 2 of us. And it's also at the very core of what we do in theater and in video and in different media. It's always the visual arts that resurface. And what's the amazing and uncompromisable bond of our collaboration?
It's simple. It's friendship.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Robert and I, we met a long time ago, way back in high school. And in high school, we shared a small atelier when we changed to the visual department. And it was never the plan to like join and start a collective. But then in Ghent, we found each other at the Royal Academy. And yeah, basically we were the 2 youngsters and we started to collaborating when all the older students, they ventured off to their families or to their homes. And we left over,
We became the collective Robert and Frank, Frank and Robert. We will dive into immediately our way of thinking in making art with an example. Here we are on an adventure, Frank and I, in
Qatar.
Yeah? Of Dubai.
That's Qatar.
Yeah. And we met this friendly guy who worked at a very specific spot. It was in the middle of the desert, and there was only one green spot with trees, lush green trees, suddenly in the middle of the desert. And we went to investigate. And apparently these guys, they are there to create this lush green avenue in the middle of the desert. And it reminded us very strongly of actually the previous theater piece we were working on, where we installed small Christmas trees on scene with a backdrop that we painted of an immense desert. So it was basically the exact same setting we imagined already previously in our theater play that we encountered now in real life without like expecting it or going to or like searching it. It just came on our path.
Yeah, it's typical because we believe in some sort of holistic principle. Here you can see one of the small Christmas trees. We didn't plan to go all the way to Qatar and do our stuff there. We actually were planning to do something in Asia, and we had a free stop in Qatar because we flew with Emirates. And we shared stuff on social media, and then by social media we got contacted by this super weird organization all the way in Qatar, and they invited us to do our presentation again. But then it appeared that the whole art center was like almost a ghost art center. They did exist, but they didn't had the support, or they couldn't just offer anything. So we did a small artist talk there, and after a day we were basically stuck in Qatar because we planned a stay over for 10 days. And by coincidence we had our Christmas chairs, so we ventured off in the desert, and we reenacted our theater piece, but basically for nobody else except for the few Pakistani people that were guarding the whole water supply in the desert to water the trees. And in a way, this whole holistic principle is a little bit how we work, Robbert and I.
Yes, because we believe an artwork is only a shadow and it's never finished. Because we start off with usually a quite simple idea or a feeling, a material, and then we go out into the world and we try to create things and place them back into the real world when we're finished creating things in the atelier. But what we make is only a temporary form of that idea. It's only in retrospect that we realize that work lives on like for years and years.
And it can shape shift. It lands in one form, and then during the ages, during the months, during the years, it shape shifts in different forms.
And we'll talk about now mainly one piece, which one resulted in that one. So this is a very first form of that artwork. It was created in art school already, and then later on we made a new version which was like 100 times as big. We showed it for the first time on Boomtown during Gentse Feesten in Ghent. And then the idea lived on somehow.
In the beginning, Robbert invented the machine back in school. It was a machine and it had to use electricity, but in a way, Robbert wanted to make like a passive machine. So it used electricity in the light, but it was actually an idea that worked in the minds of people who read the message. So in a way, it's just like this big pole, and it says in different languages, like in the suitcase, the go away sorrow of the world sign, it's just black duct tape. So we can change the Dutch into Chinese, into French, into every possible language. So in the beginning, it was just a machine that had to use electricity, and by reading it, you used a little bit electricity in your brain, and you could send this positive message into the universe. And if all these people, they read the message or they saw the badge, even subconsciously, you send this positive vibes into the universe, and all this positivity could vibrate and take over. It's like a mantra, like a Buddhist mantra almost. And here in Boomtown, it was kind of funny because it's a festival, so they have a lot of sponsors, banks, beer brands, Pepsi. So we wanted to have a little competition with all these sponsors, like who has the biggest pole, who has the biggest brand. And we wanted to have the biggest positive brand.
And we succeeded, by the way. That brings us to the idea of the Trojan horse. This little suitcase is our Trojan horse. We take it different places and we use it as a vessel.
Because what is a Trojan horse? It's something recognizable. Like Odysseus, he built a big horse. It's something super recognizable. Everybody knows it. But inside it has some small little demons, small little things that can change something. So we adapted the form of a suitcase and we built a super simple wooden suitcase. We built actually many of them. And every suitcase is a portable small museum, a portable white box or a portable black box, a portable performance or a portable installation. And this one small Trojan horse is, the best one of all the small cases that we made.
It started out also as part of a theater play in which Frank discovered a gun which appeared to be of chocolate. So in the end, we together ate the gun in a big pacifist action. So, like Frank said, the suitcases are portable white cubes and black boxes. We wanted to break out of these controlled areas and take them out into the world. Here are a few drawings of different ideas.
Yeah, we used this first suitcase on stage with the chocolate gun. And when the theater play was over, when we finished touring, we saw that this actually works as an autonomous artwork. And at that point, we started to invent as many possible portable artworks as possible. That's 2 times possible in the same sentence. It's in the end, I think we invented 67 different suitcases, but we only built 8 different cases.
And then we went out into the world. We created different sculptures, made different images. We went to Asia and competed with small shrines and statues over there.
Yeah, the suitcases, they really come to life when we present them in public space. And even the connotation changes. And especially in Asia, a long time ago, we already been there and we saw that a lot of people or places, they have house gods. And we, Robbert and I, we have since 10 years alter egos. Robbert is a reindeer and I'm a bull. And we made a super small suitcase where we turned our alter egos into portable house gods. And it fitted perfectly in like the local Hong Kong or Taiwan concept. So everywhere that we came, every restaurant or every house, we could just open our own house gods and they could like...
do a small ritual.
do a small ritual and have a dialogue with the local house gods. In the parallel world, not in our physical...
And one of the suitcases that we've been doing like continuously over and over and over again is this little one. Here we have one in Hong Kong. It's a project now that we've been doing for 3 years.
2014, almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years. So this suitcase, it has this little thing. It has traveled all over the world already, and this is actually the main thing that exemplifies almost our commitment to working together, but also to working on the same thing over and over again to create like a stubborn like statement, because the suitcase, it's super naive. It's a bit like almost absurd to think that you will change the world with just saying, sorrow, go away, stop it.
It's a little bit naive. It's a little bit naive. And we're not powered by any organization. We're not supported by big like art centra that pay us to do it. It's just Robbert and I, we want to do it as many times possible. And we can go to Hong Kong, but we can even here in Belgium. For example, if we're both from West Flanders, if we travel to West Flanders to, I don't know, say hi to my grandma, for example, even then we can take the suitcase and build it somewhere. So every travel occasion is good.
Even here.
Yeah, ma.
Yep. So doing the performance is the first step. We go somewhere, we take the suitcase and we do the performance. But we also film each performance And then we make also a small postcard of the action. So every action has an official certificate because we take our small portable printer, we print it, we put the official stamp on the postcard, and we send it to our home, to our atelier at home, but also to previous places we've been. And in such a way, we create a new network that is also yet another layer of distributing the message.
Because we believe that by sending the postcard, people in the post-distribute center read the message. People, sometimes a card gets lost. It's another way of spreading the message. And it's also a super weird way, like we keep in touch with people that we once met on a distant location just by doing the action, talking to them on the street, asking their post address, and then months or even years later, all of a sudden they get this card. So it's like this vibration wave with an echo that comes afterwards.
This is on San Marco Square, where we were stopped very quickly. And this is here in Brussels, where we were stopped very quickly as well. There's only 2 places where we were addressed so quickly, which was here in Brussels and in Italy, and in the metro.
Yeah, everybody thinks that the Chinese government is repressive. It isn't. We can do it.
Here in Belgium,
nobody cares.
It's much worse.
Here in Brussels, it's like terrorist threat and police.
So here we have the postcards. I would say you can leave your address and we can send you a postcard if you want.
Oh yeah, it's true.
With the official stamp.
In a way, you saw the sign, power in numbers. We believe by doing it and by like enhancing our action and keep on doing the performance and making the card, that the whole action becomes more and more powerful. We're now thinking of like presenting in a way all the individual cards as some sort of artworks themselves. Because the power in this work is not only in the fact that we have made a rather beautiful sculpture, I think, but also in the fact that we do it over and over and over again. I think the work will only be fulfilled if we will be, let's say, 72 years old, and he still tries to like lift me up, and then I like try to get the thing open. If we succeed to do that kind of commitment, then I think this work will leave a mark, or will mean something. We're just at the beginning. Since a couple of months, we started to share all the information, because nobody could see our like rather analog small bibliothèque of cards. So now we put all the cards online on a blog, and people can follow like the action. But we also made a pin, and we're wearing it, because we believed that like the whole message, it's a beautiful thing, but it should land in as many forms as possible. Not even a postcard that we can send, but the people themselves. If we make a pin and we give the pin to people that see the action, the people that wear the pin become some sort of like walking canvases, and they join. They resonate together with all the others. Or they forget that they're wearing it, and then they're standing in the shop and people say, "Mo, what are you wearing?" And they're reading it, and then it's... Yeah, whenever you think it, whenever you read it, you talk about it, you send vibrations into the universe. Let's all think about it. And that's the holistic principle again, because we give things to people, but then things come back to us. Like sometimes we forget that we've given something to somebody, and then by social media and with all the creative digital things in the cloud, people hashtag the message and find us again. And in a way, it's, yeah. Maybe it's an invisible army of positivity. Maybe no. This is a small sidetrack where we made the message in scrap wood, and we put it in the Grande Canale in Venice, as if the message came floating out from the sea towards the shore, and you could almost fish it out of the waters. Maybe one more thing to end, like the thing that we did in Venice. we travel a lot, but we always travel a little bit like by coincidence. Projects take us to a place, and we believe that as an artist you work a little bit like a chameleon, because one day you're an artist, but one day later you're also an artist, but you're maybe more a product designer. A day later you're a social worker. Another day, every day your function as an artist changes. And with the suitcase, it's cool that if your function as an artist changes, you come to places that are sometimes totally closed. Like, you can think of dozens of...
For example,
For
we've been to China, where we did the suitcase also. But at the same time, we also are super interested in the whole gadget kind of world. The pin is a good example. So we went to a few factories to investigate how is it made, where does it come from. We also just wanted to share that because we think it's quite cool, and it's part of the more engineering part of creating these kind of things. Actually,
going back to the roots, we order a pin in China, and then we go back to China to visit the factory where the pin is made. It was kind of.
But it's at the same time, these kind of images, like these little puppets and things, they are also just flooded all over the world. It's very interesting to investigate how that happens.
Yeah.
And if we can do the action in like such a place, it has even more resonance, I think. So that was a bit humbly bumbly.
Yeah, we're finished actually.
To conclude, we made also a plan, a blueprint of how the suitcase is made, how the machine actually works, the internal mechanics of the device.
Yeah.
And it's an open source blueprint. You can find it online, but we also brought a few posters of the blueprints for people who are interested to make the suitcase themselves, because that's what we also would like to see, that people adopt the message. It's not like we own the thing or we want to own it. We want to give it out and hope that people take it away. And
yeah, it's weekend. So if you don't have anything to do this upcoming weekend, go to a wood shop here in Brussels, spend a Saturday with some screws, with some machines and stuff.
Woodworking is hip.
Yeah,
it will get you a lot of likes on Instagram if you post it. So I don't see a reason why not to do it.
But you can also make something without posting it, huh?
No, then it doesn't exist, huh? Okay. Well, that was our talk. That was our commitment. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
We were Robbert and Frank. #.